A few nights ago, I found myself unexpectedly reliving a painful memory that I had buried away for half a decade. My sister, whom I loved and trusted, secretly got involved with my fiancé on the night of our engagement party, and even worse, my family took her side. Now, 5 years have gone by, and she's drowning in overwhelming debt, practically begging me for a staggering sum of $75,000. Let me start at the beginning. I'm 29 years old, and I recently received an out-of-the-blue phone call from my mother, a woman I haven't spoken to in almost 5 years. She reached out to tell me that my sister and her husband had endured a terrible catastrophe and desperately needed my help. Hearing her trembling voice brought back a flood of memories, and I couldn't help but recall every little detail that went so terribly wrong in the past. Before I dive into the story of their misfortune, here's some context. My sister, who is 27 now, and I'll refer to her as Melissa, is married to a man named Lucas, who is 29. But Lucas wasn't always her husband. He was originally supposed to marry me. We had been together since our college years, building dreams for almost 5 solid years. We were that couple that everyone thought was destined for a storybook ending. He proposed to me, and then he threw a special party for the occasion. On the night of that engagement party, when I felt as if the world was dancing at my feet, everything collapsed in mere moments. I still remember that moment so vividly. It was around 10 p.m. and I stepped out into the backyard to get better cell reception. To my absolute horror, I caught my sister Melissa entwined in Lucas's arms, both of them in a heated makeout session. They were so enraptured by each other that it took them a few seconds to realize I was there, staring in shock. My heart felt like it was being physically ripped from my chest. We had almost 5 years of togetherness, and he dared to betray me on the night we celebrated our engagement. When they finally turned and saw me, they separated from each other instantly, but it was already way too late. I couldn't even begin to speak through my shock. I just fled, stumbling toward my car and speeding off to the nearest hotel. My entire body was trembling and I felt like I could barely breathe. I kept trying to convince myself that maybe this was all some twisted prank, but deep down, I already knew the truth. And then it was confirmed in the most brutal way possible. A text from Melissa popped up on my phone, apologizing, but claiming that she was in love with Lucas, and apparently, they had been carrying on behind my back for quite some time. My stomach churned. Next came Lucas's own text, echoing what Melissa said, and adding the cruel confession that he'd only proposed to me